Ready?
Justin, middle of the field, 45, 50. Green grass in front of him, leaving Lions in his wake. I am Jeff Joniak. Blitz is on. Down he goes! Oscar!
What was it like playing for Coach Ditka?
I don't want to answer any questions like that.
61 yards! A Sunday stroll for Justin Fields.
Oh, wow!
And etc.
Now, Bears Etc. with the voices of the Chicago Bears, Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer.
All right, what is the value of one win for a Bears team that went into Washington, attacked, scored, and finished the job? 40-20, I'd say it's significant. We're going to find out how significant as the week rolls on. Welcome into episode 23 of the Bears Etc. podcast alongside my broadcast partner of 27 years, Super Bowl winning Bear guard Tom Thayer, and coming up, our weekly visit with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. We come to you every Tuesday and Thursday, and we appreciate you listening, and hopefully you are enjoying the shows as much as we are. Enjoy your weekend, Tom?
Yeah, I did. You know, it's kind of, fun after a victory. You know, you get some work done that you don't get a chance to do during the course of the season, and then you get a chance to watch football. So, yeah, it was a good weekend. Notre Dame got beat. My high school won. And, of course, we started it with the Bears victory on Thursday.
Yeah, it's certainly more fun to talk about it. And we talked about it on Bears Game Night Live last night. We were laughing, having fun, breaking down big plays. It's always fun to see big plays. Sometimes over the years, you become jealous when you're watching teams put together an aerial show and you're stacking up victories and they're playoff contenders. So hopefully this is the spark that lights the fire, Tom.
Yeah, though, Jeff, when you think about the Denver game and you think about this past Washington game, I think there's a lot of value in the film. And even though they lost the Denver game, but they won the Washington game, I think you kind of saw a lot of workable type things that you can reuse both offensively and defensively. So I think that, to me, is the encouraging part of it. And hopefully we'll see going forward how it fits into the remainder of the year, or at least the next game plan.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of regret about that Denver game down the road. For some reason, that thing that was there to be won, and it should have been won. And I think that will be something that it may haunt this team later in the year. But this is all the process of learning. That's football. That's the NFL. But yeah, I did the math. 0-2 wins. There are 8 teams in the league at that number right now. We got a bunch of 1-4 teams. We got a winless team in Carolina, a couple of 2-win teams. So everybody's not getting out of the gate like a flash or playing 500 football. Everybody's still trying to figure it out. And even the team, look at Minnesota, our upcoming opponent. 11 one-score wins a year ago, and that is not the case at 1-4 here in 2023 so far, anyway.
Right. So, that's why you talk about the haunt of the Denver game, because if the Bears had won 2 games in a row, got back, had a chance to get back in the division with this upcoming game against Minnesota. But I guess you have to leave the results in your rearview mirror, but you have to take, like I said, the value out of the tapes and, how you improved, who's improving, how guys are instrumentally fitting in their roles on this football team. Because if you look at the production, there's a lot of new guys that had a lot of production in these games that I think that you have to continue to capitalize on their performance and their ability to improve.
Also, you're going to be staring at 2 more losing streaks you got to get rid of. One, you've lost 8 in a row in the division, and you got a 9-game home losing streak, Tom. It's time to get back Soldier Field.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the fans did a nice job last week of really being involved in the game, and the Bears gave them something to be involved in. And I think the same thing is, this week, like you said, you got to get ownership of that stadium back. And I think it's really important for a lot of these guys that were here last year and guys that have been here this year haven't seen leaving Soldier Field during the regular season after a victory, and how appreciative the fans will be.
All right, some of the roster moves: designating cornerback Kyler Gordon and offensive center Doug Kramer for return from injured reserve. So the hand injury that Kyler Gordon had, he was off to a great start. Looking forward to his return. And Doug Kramer's battled injury his first 2 years in the league. The local product from Hinsdale and the University of Illinois, always a smile on his face in the locker room. Looking forward to getting back. And Darrington Evans is back. Got a call Friday from his agent, said, hey, they might want to get you into Chicago. And so here he's back. He played against him in the preseason with Miami, had a big 35-yard run and with emotion. You remember that run he had against the Bears? So he's back on the 53-man coming off of Miami's practice squad. So, and he had a choice. You come to a roster and get paid as a rostered player, or stay on a really good team right there down in Miami hoping for an opportunity. That's always a big decision now for players.
It is, but players want to play, Jeff. And that's the thing about it is if you're buried on the depth chart and you may never be able to sniff the active roster, these guys are type A personalities that they want to have the opportunity to contribute wherever they play.
And Nathan Peterman back to the practice squad as linebacker Deslin Alexander was released. Before we get to Coach Eberflus and hear what he had to say, and again, we taped this interview with Coach on Friday after the game, after we got back, so we'll get you up to date on what he had to say at his news conference on Monday. But a happy whenever I hear an 85 Bear is turning 65 or older, it freaks me out. But Mike Singletary, happy birthday on Monday at the age of 65 for the Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I was talking to Hampton, and I know that he recently had a birthday too, maybe within the last 2 weeks. And, our generation or our group of players, they're climbing the ladder in age. And, look, man, you look at Singletary nowadays and he's in great shape. He's great character, and to me, he doesn't seem any older than the guy that I used to locker directly across from in the old Hallis Hall and spend plenty of years, enjoying his company and, looking at his dedication to being great and, being a great contributor.
Yeah, what'd you learn football-wise from Big Mike?
He's the most well-prepared professional football player I've ever been around. Physically, mentally, spiritually, the way he wanted his teammates to grow, the way that he was super informative in the locker room, the way he would take charge, his leadership role. He didn't shy away from some uncomfortable conversations with management, whether you're talking about the conditions of the practice field or what we needed as a team. So, I just think that Mike is just the type of CEO player that you want in a locker room.
So Monday, Matt Eberflus, out of the break, talked about the self-scout, looking at the scheme, looking at each individual, then looking at each position group, couple of improvement suggestions for each player, also looking at the scheme, but now also looking at a little help. So he's going to add a senior defensive assistant. Could be somebody that works a little bit at home, works about here. It's more about the advancing of the next opponent to take a little bit off that plate and get them maybe hitting the ground running a little faster for game weeks. I don't know who it's going to be. It's somebody that he has not mentioned a name, but people jumped to Rod Marinelli right away, but he said now he's enjoying retirement down in Vegas. So do you think this is a good idea? If it's a good idea for Coach, I guess it's a good idea if it's going to help him.
I don't know. I guess if you can give some pre-scouting advice from watching an opponent beforehand, and they don't only watch one game, they'll watch several games, and they'll get their tendencies, and they'll get information from their past experience in the league and how to pass that information forward. I want them to be, help constructively. I don't want another voice of confusion. So if Matt feels that he would welcome the help of someone out there that he is familiar with, hey, I'm all for it.
Yep. So Matt will continue to call the plays and be the defensive coordinator / head coach. Injury news, he won't get into that until Wednesday, but there could be some promise for Jalen Johnson returning, Eddie Jackson returning as well, potentially. And now we don't have the official word on Khalil Herbert, but it looks like the running back could have an ankle injury that could keep him down.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of evident of that when he taped his ankle up and he tried to come back in the game, and it was a one-play trial, and he head back to the sideline. Thankfully, they had a guy like Kari Blasingame, and because he is in the role of a fullback, he has to be equally knowledgeable about the role of the halfback. So I'm sure any play that Luke Getsy wanted to call from the sideline, he had 100% opportunities with Blasingame in the game.
And in terms of Minnesota, Justin Jefferson coming down with that hamstring injury, and I know they are going to have a hard time keeping him off the field. They had a hard time keeping him on the sideline. He doesn't like to miss a play, let alone a game, but They're going to take it slow unless it's just gamemanship, and he'll show up and have a great game. I don't know, but that's Kevin O'Connell basically saying they're going to take it slow with Jefferson. To me, he's still the best player in the division, regardless of position. That's my personal opinion.
Well, it kind of surprises me because if he was close, if it wasn't that significant of a pull, and they were in that game yesterday up until the end, I thought maybe he would go back in there and try to get that isolation rep that he needed that resulted in a score. Justin Jefferson is a great football player, like you said, probably one of the top one or two in the division. And I never want to wish a guy injured.
No, absolutely not.
He's a tremendous player, and he has been since the minute he walked on an NFL field.
We're brought to you by Miller Lite, the official beer of the Chicago Bears. Tastes like Miller time, Chicago. Here's my conversation with head coach Matt Eberflus following the win in Washington. All right, Matt, good to have you back. Congratulations, first and foremost. I know it's just one, and you treat a loss like a win, but this just feels different. Feels different.
No, I was happy for the guys. It's good that they had the weekend off, and it's important that we build on this momentum. And I thought the guys did a heck of a job of coming out and executing, and on a short week, and having their minds right. In terms of their preparation, because you can certainly feel the passion and the fire that came out on Thursday night.
Oh, I love the attack. First snap. It just kind of set the tone then for everybody, all three phases. But did you feel that everybody kind of just let it loose? Just let it loose.
Well, it's, I think it was just the mindset for the whole week. We talked about, being on the attack and making sure that we had our bodies right, and then really the focus of the detail during the walkthroughs, because you get a ton of walkthroughs, during that time. The first day, I think we got 60-some plays of walkthrough, and the next day we almost got 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And it's really good for the preparation. And then you get a Friday, that gold zone practice there on Wednesday before you leave, and then you get another walk through the day of the game on Thursday. So you get a bunch of reps, and the execution was high on Thursday.
So I got to be honest with you. I have friends that played high school football or whatever, maybe dabbled in college or whatever, and they kind of scoff at the whole walkthrough thing. Because they always say, hey, Matt always talks about walkthroughs. And I think in general, the average football fan, who cares? Like, it's a walkthrough. It's not full speed. You're not, you know what I mean? What's the meaning of it in the bigger picture that people maybe overlook? Media.
Yeah, so a walkthrough is really, you're actually running plays against the opponent. So you have a show team offense running a play against our defense, and a show team defense, aligning up against our number one offense. And they can do everything live up until the snap. So it's feet, hands, and eyes. You're getting in a fitted position. You're stepping through, and it's almost like a jog through pace, where you're stepping through your assignment, your protection, your blitz path, whatever it may be, the coverages, the matching of the routes and the coverages, the adjustments for the receivers, by the coverage, and so to me, there's a lot of things that go in it. You're actually physically running the plays, and it's just not at full speed. And you can get a ton of reps on that, a ton of different looks, and you can get your assignments down. And your technique, you can work on your technique even if it's a slower pace. So there's a lot of benefit from it. We do it all the time. Before every practice, we do a 25-minute walkthrough before we actually practice the plays. We do it every single day, and it's an important part of what we do.
So not to belabor this point, there's much to talk about, but is this kind of the exam portion of the week? If they're not mentally right, they're making mistakes in walkthrough, that's a red flag.
Yeah, because what we do is we install during the meetings. So with that, we'll obviously have PowerPoints and different things, diagrams, video to back that up, exactly how we want it done. Give them the perfect picture, and then we'll go immediately to the walkthrough. So they got to transfer that information that they gathered during the meeting onto now functional intelligence, which is actually executing the play call or the defensive call or the special teams assignment.
One of the things I enjoy about wins around the NFL, Peter King's done it for years. It's there's a story behind the win, especially a big one, and he writes about it on Monday morning. Gets to talk to the coach and the quarterback, not just the stuff that everybody else sees, something behind the scenes that led to this, a creative thought, an idea, whatever. Is there one to describe this win, given what you guys have gone through? Is there a story?
I would say that, working back to the Denver week, we really, we had just had a hard loss to Kansas City. We were going into Denver, and, we focused on the details of your position. And I challenged everybody at your position that they play their very best this week coming up in the Denver game. And we focused on details of the position. So we did it for the walkthroughs. We did it for the drills during individual. We did it during the practice. And, I had everybody write it up exactly, 2 things in the run, 2 things in your pass techniques that you need to get better at. And we just focused on that, the details of that. And I said, if we can get better at that, guys, we'll be a better football team. And they did that. We did a really good job of that. And the guys, obviously, we executed at a high rate in the first half of the Denver game and really through 3 quarters. And then my message to them after that game was, hey, guys, you really did a good job. And there's a lot of momentum to build from Denver. I said, but the one thing we have to do is learn how to finish. And how you do that is just keep doing the same thing. It's a cycle of the snap, one play at a time, and focus on those details, because the little details make the big things happen, and that's what we did on Thursday.
All right, how does that become sustainable thinking?
Yeah, it's just it's repetition, consistency and repetition. You can never get bored with the mundane, with the constant repetition of the fundamentals. Again, and it changes. Your fundamentals don't change, but the scheme changes a little bit. The way you dress a play up, the way you maybe have a blitz, it looks differently, but it's really the same type of blitz. But those things are always constant in football, and you really have to be laser-like focused in your mind to get that done.
All right, you've had a ton on your plate as a head coach. That goes without saying. Now the defensive calls, and I've defended this decision to call your own plays and be the defensive coordinator while you're head coach, because it's been done many times before. And then I heard something on Watto and Sylvie that this week you said, or last week you said, they asked you if you talk to folks. Are you talking to your old coaches? Is that where this is?
You mean my old mentors?
Yeah, the
exactly.
guys, and like, what's that conversation like?
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of them. A lot of them, have given me words of encouragement. But really, the thing that I take most from those guys is what I modeled. You model the behavior you see, right? As a child growing up, and you're in your family. As a young coach growing up, you model the behavior of the guys that are ahead of you. And I had some really good ones, some Hall of Fame guys and some really good coaches to be able to do that. And the one thing that's consistent with every one of them is they stayed consistent. They didn't ebb and flow with the tide. What they did was they said, hey, this is the principles, these are the standards, and if we keep doing right, it'll be right. And you just keep doing that over and over, and it's repetition. Again, we've won one football game,
right?
But we understand that the momentum is swinging in the right direction. And we also understand that this league is hard, and every week is a challenge, and we have to focus in every single week and to get this done.
All right. So when you get up every morning, last week, during this streak, because frankly, I know it's a new year, but you personally have had experienced 14 straight losses, no matter what the team looks like. So did you fight the urge to change what you do? Typically, you personally, or did those little like pep talks from your peers and mentors help you stay the course? Because did you have these tendencies to think, gosh, what if I did try something different that's out of my comfort zone?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not try something different. It's refocus, on the basics. So it's not like go to some place where you're going to, hey, I'm going to run this different defense or this different scheme. That's not where the answer is. The answer goes back to the basics. And that's what my mentors would say too, and that's what we focused on. The last thing I said to the guys before they went out, in the game was I said, win the physical battle. I said, do the basics. And what is that? I said, blocking and finish, tackling and finish. And I said, if we do those things and we take care of the football and take the ball away, we're going to like the result. I know that sounds very basic, but if you can focus,
it sounds simple.
It is,
but it's hard.
It is.
It's hard.
The guys did a nice job of it Thursday night.
Would you agree the offensive line exemplified that significantly? That group and there was shuffling going on because of injury and plan with Tevin Jenkins. I think Pro Football Focus, again, we all evaluate differently, but they had him for 37 snaps and no pressures. They were awesome. I mean, they were right on point. The pockets were clean. Justin looked confident in the pocket. I mean, and allowed those routes to develop. In some cases, routes had to develop for a minute there. I mean, they were long routes. So would you say they exemplified everything you're talking about here?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. Chris Morgan, Luke Steckel, working with the offensive line, Cable, they all do a great job with those guys. And, the injuries that we sustained during training camp really actually helped us, for this game because we had moving parts. Yep. Yeah, Lucas Patrick leave, and then Cody went back to center. Well, he played center before he moved back to guard during training camp. JT had to come in and play. So you had different guys rotating in and out. Larry is playing now, so because Braxton's out, so there's a lot of moving pieces there. But because we were able to do that during training camp and the first 4 games, we were able to operate, and really do a good job of executing in this moment on Thursday.
And a tip of the cap to the coaching staff to get a team ready on a short week. It just showed. It showed you guys were ready to go.
Yeah. Again, I credit the players and I credit the coaches for that, and did a great job with the mindset and a great job with the detail.
All right, I wrote this about DJ Moore. He's not just a receiver. He's a bundle of explosion and a study in persistence after the catch to avoid being tackled. His plan after the catch is impressive. It likens, for me, it's like I think about my NBA days of covering the great Bulls team. MJ had a plan on every move. It seems like I'm not saying he's Michael Jordan, but MJ's one type of an athlete, DJ's another. He has a plan after that catch. It is sudden, and it's precise, and it's physical. That dude does not get knocked off his pins. I mean, do I have that frame properly?
Yeah, you do. He's strong, after the catch. He really is. And his contact balance is really good. So when they go to tackle him, it's very difficult to get him on the ground because he has great contact balance. So he's able to keep his frame. He's able to keep his balance and be strong through that process. And that's why it's so hard to get him down. And he's also very elusive. His route running is impeccable. And like I said last night at the podium, the thing I love most about him is he's one of our hardest workers. Now, we got a lot of good hard workers, but he's definitely one of them. And it's great when you can have a leader like that is one of your hardest workers.
A few people know who Greg Stroman is. He's been in the league a bit, and he has turned out to be a valuable asset in that nickel spot. Tell us more about him and how impactful can he continue to be?
Yeah, he's done really well for us. Obviously, that big interception last night, stepping in there, and, we converted on that. And, he's done a really good job the last few weeks. Missing Gordon over these weeks, was difficult, but Stroman's done a nice job of stepping in there for sure.
And lastly here, are the seeds planted for that defensive line and the defense in general to continue to get home on those sacks? The pressures have been adding up. The sacks came against this quarterback. I know it's a new plan every week, but do you see that bearing fruit here?
Yeah, I think it's, just garners confidence, and fosters that. And the guys are really, really excited last night after the game or last Thursday after the game. And, I think it's really important to just keep building upon that. I really do. We had several hits on the quarterback during that game, and we have to continue that. And we had some missed ops. We let him spin out of a couple of sacks, and we could have had a couple more. But 5 sacks was a good start in the right direction.
And now in Minnesota, Kirk Cousins and, of course, Justin Jefferson's elite. So you begin there and build a plan from there, I imagine, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And it's going to be a big challenge. And again, it's all about us. It's about us focusing on how we do things and about our execution.
All right. Coming out of that, I guess the big topic, and it will remain that way because DJ Moore emerged in a big way and being compared statistically favorable to the best receivers in the league through 5 weeks of the season right now.
He is. Yeah, I mean, just think of a receiver and what's required out of him to run perfect routes, to have body adjustment, to have a visualization of making the catch, even though he has distractions within his sight line. He's a difficult tackle once he gets to his feet, and he's got the speed to take it whatever distance he needs to take it. So everything that's required out of a receiver to be an official, I don't know when the last time we could say, okay, there's an official number one on this team. DJ Moore is an official number one on this team.
Well, we had Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey. That was a 1 and 1A maybe.
Yeah, but I don't think they were in the prime of their career like DJ Moore is. And I like the work ethic and the seriousness that Brandon Marshall brought to work every day, but it ended up going haywire and he went on his way, and some of the other guys. But I think for as long as we've been wanting to say a number one receiver, I think DJ Moore is that number one receiver.
Well, and Justin Fields, as we talked about on the TV show, he's got a perfect quarterback rating, Justin, throwing to DJ Moore this season. Can't get any better. Perfect.
Yeah. Too, is I don't want to lose sight of how much respect I have for Darnell Mooney. I think DJ Moore is a great receiver, and it's nice to have someone on your team you can have call a number one. However, I think that DJ Moore, the more targets he gets, the more opportunity it's going to present Darnell Mooney. And if Darnell Mooney would have made that catch the first play of the game, and look, they're asking a lot. First play of the game, they want the offensive line to sustain protection. They want Justin to drop back. They want him to throw a long, precise pass, and then Darnell come up with the play. If he would have came up with the play, it would have been super explosive. But they didn't shy away from continuing to throw the ball down the field. But I would like to see Darnell maybe get 3 to 5 more opportunities per game.
All right, let's talk about the offensive line. You're the best man for the job. I thought they were tremendous. I did. We're talking about a number one each spot on Washington's defense, and they handled their business. Did they give up some pressures? Absolutely. They're going to every week. But the protection, the pockets were nice and clean for Justin to feel comfortable and rip it on all areas of the field. And then the run game, the pulls. I really like Darnell Wright and Nate Davis pulling from right to left. That is a sight to see, in my opinion. They are big, strong, and their landmarks are being hit. You tell me. That's a beautiful play right there.
You're right. But, first of all, taking the offensive tackle into consideration to talk about the offensive line first. So you have a rookie on one side, and you have Larry Borom, who we know is athletic and has ability, but he's replacing Braxton Jones right now. And he's playing at a high level. So offensive tackle position on the road, you can rarely hear the snap count. So you have to have organized timing amongst the group. And when we talk about the offensive line developing chemistry, that's one of the most important elements of chemistry you need to develop. So this offensive line was really evenly timed on the snap of the ball. There wasn't guys that were getting off intermittently at the wrong time to open up creases for the pass rush. So the interior guys worked well with the offensive tackle position, but I think it's tougher for the tackles because they're not really hearing anything. So as a complete unit, organized they were at the snap of the ball. They had really well organized for the running game and the multiple plays they ran. But to me, when you go back and you research this pass protection, there was a lot of plays that Justin was never hassled off of his spot. And he wasn't looking to eject the pocket. He had extended looks for his wide receivers. And I think it showed in his accuracy, the efficiency, the big catches that led to the big plays. So I was super encouraged by the offensive line. Oh, no, yeah. Lucas Patrick had to go out. Cody Whitehair had to go to center. Tevin Jenkins, that maybe I thought was going to get 5 to 15 snaps. I think Matt Eberflus at the podium said he got 37. So super, super encouraged by the job that Chris Morgan, offensive line coach, did. And Jatari Carter also started the second half. So a lot of good from this performance.
And a clean sheet on those 37. No pressures, no sacks allowed by Tevin Jenkins.
That's why he was drafted in the position he was, be considered to play offensive tackle. But now, Tevin, listen to me, listen to the podcast. I need 10 straight games out of you and Nate Davis. I need 10 straight games out of you guys to help your offensive tackles develop over the course of time in the regular season. And that's a big ask from what we've seen so far. So Give me 10, and then let's go to 20.
Sounds good. Let's talk about Larry Borom for a minute, because Braxton Jones next week can begin a possible return. I don't know if he will, but what have you thought of his performance so far, based on playing last year at right tackle and also getting some work at guard?
Larry Borom, pass blocking wise, has played more physical at the offensive tackle position. I thought last year there was times out of his set he may have been getting bull rush or pushed back a little bit too quickly in the quarterback's face. He's playing offensive tackle with more of the attitude that he showed us as a rookie when we saw him out there, and what a good, fluid, big athlete he looked like. So I'm super encouraged about what I've seen out of Larry Borom since he's been inserted in the lineup because of the Braxton Jones issue. And the more reps he gets on the field, the better the offensive line is. The better the offensive line is, the more depth they're developing. So really important, what he's doing.
Take a chance. Download the Bet Rivers app today. And for all your journeys ahead, go with a partner who's been on your team from the beginning. The one members and communities have trusted for over 85 years. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, always standing by you, with you, for you, through it all. Jeff Joniak, Tom Thayer on the Bears Etc. podcast. Let's talk about Gervon Dexter. I think most people feel he had his best game. According to Eberflus, getting off the ball a little better against Washington, more consistent, and that's really the key for every rookie, is to find consistency. But I think he had 3 pressures in the game. How important is this development kicking in gear at this point after 5 games? Now you're starting to work towards the middle of the season here for a rookie with this kind of second-round draft grade.
Well, during the broadcast, we were talking about how I was sitting down on the Bears sideline, and I was watching him go through some pregame paces with the defensive line coaches. And they were, saying the different scenarios that he's going to face, and they went through a snap count, and then they showed him what technique he wanted to use, the differences in the technique, the different types of attack at the snap of the ball according to the specific defense called. And that's what I like most about Gervon Dexter, is you can't only use one type of technique against an offensive lineman or they'll eat you up. You have to use a variety of your assets, whether it's your feet, your length, your strength, your power, or your arsenal of moves. And so the more reps that he gets against NFL offensive linemen, the more he gets to studying on tape. But then some things don't surprise him so much when he has to go to an alternate move. And that's what I like about his skills and his body style and his everything being able to develop at a rapid rate. And again, his arrow is pointed straight up.
All right, Justin Fields. Last year he had that stretch when he started taking off running, and the Bears put up a lot of points. Now it's through the air that it's working. Here in the last 2 games, they've scored 68 total points, and he's thrown for 617 yards and 8 touchdowns. Do we have now a higher expectation because he's shown he can do exactly that?
Well, I think that's what everybody wanted to see. As great as his legs are and as dynamic of an athlete he is, you're going to be able to survive long-term in the NFL as a quarterback if you can throw the ball efficiently. And I think, to me, that's the most exciting element in his game, because there's no denying he still has the escapability. He still has the run when they are having to get more coverage, involved in more coverages downfield, and that may open up a seam at the line of scrimmage. So, Justin, I'm excited to see his continuous development. But this passing that he's done the last couple weeks, big time on the road, especially in Washington.
Heck, he had a high snap, pulled it down, went 9 yards right up the middle.
Yep.
I mean, that's good stuff. Good news, Chicago United Airlines is getting brand new planes with all the bells and whistles, like Bluetooth connectivity, screens at every seat, and room for everyone's roller bag. United, proud to fly the Chicago Bears, and you too. All right, we always throw some wrinkles in here. Jerry Azuma, our good buddy, the former Bears cornerback and kick returner, the Pro Bowl kick returner, he's a little annoyed at the league and officials and commentators who are talking about penalties when they throw purposely a deep ball under throw where the receiver's got to work back and the DB doesn't turn around and the DB gets flagged for pass interference. He says, enough with the not turning your head around. This is a purpose throw to get a flag. How do you feel about it? I think Here's the thing. You could do that on every play. You really could. You could almost do it on every play and be flags galore. I'm kind of leaning with Jerry on this one, Tom. Where are you? It's a heavy penalty for that play. It's a lot of yards.
Aaron Rodgers made a living out of it.
Yeah.
He is man-to-man coverage on the outside. They run a formation where he's going to have that opportunity, and then he underthrows it, and the defensive back, they're going to give Aaron the call every time, and they're going to call the interference, and you're going to talk about a big gain first down because of it.
Here's the delineation. Here's the delineation, though. So Aaron did it on purpose. Yeah. Some guys just have a bad throw, and you still get the benefit. So he says there should be no PI on poorly underthrown footballs.
That's going to be hard.
That's going to be hard.
You're putting too much responsibility on the officials to be able to make that call.
And his final quote, this is on X, otherwise known as Twitter, which you've never been on. DBs should be vocal about this. Start cranking it up. All right, Dante Foreman.
Well, hold on. Let me say one more thing. I'm tired of announcers and TV people talking how they should outlaw the Philadelphia
the tush push.
Listen.
Yeah. The brotherly shove. Tom, do you like
what is their complaint?
I love the brotherly shove. That is the greatest nickname, for the city of brotherly love, the brotherly shove. Well, the Giants had two guys got hurt.
So what?
I'm just telling you.
They get hurt on every
about
style
safety.
of NFL football play. Are you going to stop getting, Van Der Esch last night, the linebacker from Dallas, got hurt into running one of his own guys. So what are you going to tell them if you're running with your head down, the play's got to stop because you might accidentally hit your head on your own guy? It's ridiculous for these guys to sit there and clamor and pound their fist about outlawing that play. Get the heck out of here. Go play the game for a while.
Well, Philly certainly cornered the market on the success rate of it. That is for sure. They've got it down to a T. Bears used it twice, right? The Bears used it was twice in this game, right?
Yeah,
twice.
But
yeah.
So if the Green Bay Packers back in Vince Lombardi days, they run the Green Bay sweep and they're successful at it, you got to outlaw it. Other teams just copy it and they run a different version of it.
Is there any aspect of it that you would be concerned about the injuries to your interior offensive line? There's a lot of weight on those guys. You've told me before, you get on a pile like that, it's pretty rough down there. What do you think?
It's a super, super physical play, but every quarterback sneak is. Whether you're not pushing from behind, if it's a quarterback sneak, because the defensive linemen, they have a certain technique that they're using, and offensive linemen are trying to road grade them out of there.
Here's the only thing.
All I'm doing is I'm venting because I'm tired of people complaining about it.
Here's one thing, though. Isn't it true that you're not allowed to help somebody into the end zone? You can't, carry a guy.
Illegal advancement. You can't, William Perry got called for it once, picking up Walter Payton and carrying him across the line of scrimmage. That's illegal advancement.
But you got two guys pushing on the quarterback from behind.
Right.
If that's okay. I mean, that's advancement. The play's cool. I like the play. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. Isn't that an illegal push?
Not to me. It's a well-designed, efficient play to get 6 inches to 1 yard maximum. Okay, so how many times have we been frustrated over the last 27 years about the Bears lining up on a 4th and 1, even in the first couple games of the year, and not getting it? So how can you devise a scheme that is more likely to get it?
And the funny thing about that, you are even if it happens a few times a season, you now have projected out into your mind that the Bears haven't been good at it for years. And I told you percentages on 3rd and 4th and 1. It was like 75% last season or whatever. But you know what? There's damage done from all the years, and they add up. And so you put it in one big clump, don't you?
Yeah, well, it's probably getting yelled at by Ditka saying, look, if it's whatever in 1 yard, we should be able to go up and tell the opponent, hey, we're going right here for 1 yard. And
which leads me to this.
Man, it's not an easy job.
Which leads me to this. Is there a 3rd or 4th and 1 that you'll never forget that you didn't get and you're still mad about it? Come on, you've got stories all the time about specifics.
Oh, yeah. So we were playing the Dallas Cowboys in a playoff game. Maybe it was 91, and it was 4th and 1, I think it was. And I didn't take a big enough step to the inside, and the linebacker beat me across my shoulder and made a stop. And it was a super bad play that I can remember to this day.
And you're probably glad I can't pull it up and see it.
I mean, I could find it. I guarantee you I could find it.
All right, quick look at Minnesota. We touched on Justin Jefferson. He's not missed a game in his career, so that tells me that if he can play, he's going to play. What else sticks out? Because Kirk Cousins is always getting a rap about finishing and finishing big games, but he's a very good quarterback. He can tear you up if he gets in a rhythm. So I guess the big task, don't let him get in a rhythm, right?
Yeah, that and no more Dalvin Cook. So do they have a game breaker? Do they have that superstar speed? If he gets to the outside, either in a carry or a catch, he can take it the distance. So I think the Bears, if they can go out there and play a real physical style of defense and they don't give up those big plays, or they don't allow Kirk Cousins to get into a comfort zone, then you get the crowd behind you at home. Maybe you can be a little dysfunctional, and you can really, the defense can help themselves and then keep the same explosiveness on the offensive side of the ball.
Right now, when you spend over $29.99, that's $2,999 at Steinhoffel's, you'll score a $100 Bears Pro Shop gift card. Visit any one of their 4 Chicagoland locations: Vernon Hills, Crystal Lake, Downers Grove, and Harwood Heights, or shop online at steinhoffels.com. You got to make sure you don't let Hawkinson beat you too much. He's going to get the ball. They're going to target him. He's going to make catches. The backs that you're referring to, Madison is a nice back. Cam Akers is there now. But at the receiver position, Jordan Addison is a good-looking rookie. He's already got 3 touchdowns. He's got 19 catches. He averages 13 yards a catch. Osborne is also a guy that can hurt you a little bit. I don't know what you think of their offensive line, Tommy. It's like some days it's really good, and some days it doesn't look so good. Very inconsistent.
Right, that's what it is. They have some good players up there, but as a whole, they're not a 60-minute, 17-game-a-year offensive line that you can count on in some of the most difficult of circumstances. And I do think that the Bears have a nice rotation of guys on the defensive front that are starting to gel and get better timing with each other, either individual efforts like Ngakoue or some good stunts run by DeMarcus Walker, Javon Dexter, growing up. Rasheem Green is a good outside long rusher. So if they can keep that depth flowing, you keep them fresh.
Yeah, also, we'll look at the defense of it. Harrison Smith always sticks out. He's 35 now. Yeah. They say he's slowing down a bit, but he's still very a part of that defense and an annoyance to the Bears over the years. And you got to stop Danielle Hunter from beating you. Danielle Hunter can still rush the passer. But we'll get deeper in, and we're going to have fun on Thursday. I thought of this. We always have either Pete Bursich on or an analyst like yourself, but we're going to have the 2 play-by-play teams. Paul Allen, he's a fun guy, and Pete Bursich, the local guy, and Tom and Jeff. We are going to break down the game and tell partner stories because we've been Isn't that going to be fun? That's going to be fun.
It's either going to be fun or I'm going to be the bad guy. Hey, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
That kind of comes from the game the other night.
Yeah.
And I don't get to ask you questions.
Well, you always free to.
I was thinking about Strowman getting a sack and an interception in the same game.
Yeah.
Do you know who the last player was to get a sack and an interception in the last game? And I'm surprised, since they've been keeping this stat, how many times this has happened by the Bears.
Okay. Would it be Brisker?
No.
No? Further than that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, like a long time ago then. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you because I know you won't guess it. It was Bilal Nichols.
Bilal Nichols. I would have never gotten it.
December 6, 2020. But what surprises me is there's been 16 guys to do it since they've been keeping the Nick Wachowski, Bryce Callahan, Adrian Amos, Aaron Lynch, McManus, Khalil Mack, Trevathan, Julius Peppers. In the Lovey era, Urlacher, Lance Briggs, Alex Brown did it twice. Also, Azuma, Peanut, Hunter Hillenmeyer, and Kevin Payne. So
okay, wow.
The only reason I did go back and look at it because I was interested, does it happen often? And so it's not most likely defensive backs.
Right.
It's the whole defense wide.
Everybody. Wow, that covers all three levels. Would have never gotten the Bilal, but now I could picture it in my head. I remember right by the goal line. I don't remember who he played. But, I'm always looking for that, corner blitz. I love the corner blitz. So, hey,
yeah, you do.
Yeah, just bring it. And I think Kyler Gordon could be a good blitzer in that regard. I thought Brisker may have done it already in his rookie year, but no. But he couldn't because he sacked the quarterback. I went right to Brisker. But, yeah, Peanut was great at it. But those names that you mentioned, a lot of defensive linemen. Aaron Lynch.
I'm surprised at how many guys, because I didn't think it would be a regular occurrence.
Yeah, that's pretty good work by you.
It's more regular of an occurrence.
In addition to what we get you're going to get a tip this week. That's tip money right there for Tom Thayer. That's good stuff. That's some good research. That's grinded. We're brought to you by PNC, official bank of the Bears. All right, that's going to wrap us up. Be sure to join us on Tuesdays and Thursdays, all season long. Bears head coach Matt Eberflus, Tom Thayer. I'm Jeff Joniak. Thanks for listening, everybody. Coming up, we'll detail the Minnesota Vikings in the battle at Soldier Field. Noon start coming up on Sunday. Thanks for listening, everyone, and please subscribe now on the Chicago Bears official app, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Bear down, everybody.